Chapter 209, I Will Defeat You. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 24. But we didn't trick you. They're crying. I don't know. Maybe they didn't trick him? Hachi seems confused. Pell just sacrificed himself. The explosion comes to an end. He saved the kingdom, Nami says. The fighting continues, which is not the result that anyone wanted. Tashigi's telling everyone to stop. Once Vivi realizes they're fighting, she's screaming from the top of the tower for everyone to stop. They can't hear her. Not sure they would stop if they could. We're back with Luffy and Crocodile. It's gotten even more intense, if that's even possible. Crocodile's still totally shocked. I guess it's scorpion poison that's on his hook hasn't taken effect and killed Luffy by now. He has a brief flashback as to the things that Luffy has done in the past in terms of other Baroque Works agents he's defeated. Luffy doesn't care who Crocodile supposedly is and how powerful he is. And I'm going to defeat you, and he launches him. I guess he inflates himself and then launches himself up to where Crocodile is. Gum storms him to the point, it's just like a million punches, and launches him even further and through the underground bedrock outside. And that's the end of that chapter. That's a pretty great chapter, actually, as quick as that is to explain out loud. Chapter 210, Zero, Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 25. The legendary sauce is found inside the top of a grade A ingredient. I'm a little lost on I guess they're still working on the Fritter recipe, essentially. I don't know. So yes, Crocodile got launched, sent, Sanji sees him, Nami sees him, Zolo, Chopper, they all see him in the sky, and they realize that Luffy won. Yay. Luffy falls back down to where the king is. King's totally shocked that Luffy somehow had the strength to launch Crocodile out like that through the underground up to the surface. It's pretty ridiculous, really. Crocodile's been defeated. Nami keeps screaming for them to stop fighting, and in this moment, I don't know if somehow she causes it or what, but it starts raining, which is a huge moment because that's what this has all been over. Is it stopped raining, and the king wouldn't use the powder to fake rain. It is now naturally raining, which is the bare minimum symbolic of what just happened. And this is enough to get people to stop fighting for a second. I guess partially because it clears the fog and lets everyone hear Vivi screaming not to fight. But that's not in every case, but that's part of it. So it's raining. Crocodile's dead. The fighting stops. Luffy's like, when the king says, "You have my thanks," Luffy just says, "It was nothing." Yeah, nothing. And that's the end of that chapter. Chapter 211, King. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 26. Now that I've got Macro's treasure too, there's no way she'll turn me down. I'm lost. But I like their little, their party, their group, their traveling group here. The rebels are still wanting to fight, even though they've stopped. As they're remembering the king himself killing the boy and destroy Nanohana with our own eyes. And they remember the royal army shooting Koza. Igaram shows up with the boy, who is not dead, and is able to explain that he saw everything and that it was all a trick, and they've all been tricked. So they finally start believing that, and people finally throw down their weapons for real in the midst of the rain. Side note, Usopp has Usopp claims to have the "if I take another step, I'll die" disease. Just a worthwhile side note. So we have the king bringing Luffy up from below, and we have the rest of the pirates meeting with them. They haven't met the king yet, so they don't recognize this as Vivi's father, but Vivi shows up. Then they realize it's his father and the king. He says, "I was prepared to die." The king says this, "but this young man," referring to Luffy, "saved me." They're saved by a bunch of pirates, which they don't want to take credit for because they're a bunch of pirates and they don't want to get involved in politics, right? We also have the Navy showing up to take Crocodile into custody here. I assume he's not dead, obviously, right? Navy shows up, standing over Crocodile. We kind of glance over. We see all of the Baroque Works agents in various states of defeat. And we see the camel in the rain with a runny nose. We have the rebels, particularly Koza, being regretful for being tricked into this. The king says, "No one can undo the past. Now we must overcome this war's tragedies and live." And everybody, "Long live Alabasta, the battle of Alabasta's devastating civil war, along with those battles never mentioned in the pages of history, finally came to an end." And that's the end of the chapter. Chapter 212, Some Justice. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 27. Meanwhile, Octopaco is on the move. So we cut to Smoker here for a second, who's got this do they talk about it? Yeah, they've got the Baroque Works ships that has all the rain powder or whatever in it, the rain-making ship. They've got that in custody. Cut to Tashigi, where this is where she tells the rest of the Navy to leave the pirates alone, even though they're out cold, the Straw Hats. This will get explained in a moment. We have Vivi and Koza talking about Koza's father and how he's doing. Yuba. But Koza's like, "I'm sure he's fine, and I'll be fine because I've got the same blood as he does." For the first time in 3 years, it's raining, including in Yuba. Yeah, we see those kung fu. I forget exactly what they were, but the kung fu sea lion things, briefly. But yes, Toto is in Yuba, and it's raining. Just 3 years, that's all it took. See? Rain. Natural rain. Fell on the land for many days. None of the pirates know how to sleep in a bed at all, obviously, because they're all over the place. I mean, maybe you could say they're used to the motion of a ship, so they're just going to be falling out of bed no matter what on land. But they've been on land for a little while at this point, so I don't know. Yep, we have Vivi staying up to watch the rain, which is pretty cool, and talking to Igaram for a moment, and then reflecting on Pell and his sacrifice. Then we move to Tashigi delivering Crocodile to Captain Smoker, and her talking about admitting to letting the Straw Hats go because she didn't have a choice, because they're the ones that really defeated Crocodile and she couldn't do it, and she's upset about it. Smoker's like, "You got to be stronger than that if you're going to be a soldier," but really he's respecting her. And then they get a call from the higher-ups in the Navy. They're going to receive medals for defeating Crocodile and both get ranks, Tashigi and Smoker, up a rank each. So they're having to face down the fact that even though, the Navy knows that it was the pirates that did this, they're going to have to deal with pretending that they're responsible and not being willing to let out the truth that the pirates were responsible. But Smoker here tells them to shove off, basically. Which, I don't know, I really like Smoker. I think a lot of people probably have that reaction at the end of this chapter. Smoker's like even more likable. I mean, I wasn't too sure about him before, but he seemed pretty likable when he let him go to pursue Crocodile, and especially here, he doesn't want to take credit that isn't his. She's upset about not being able to do her job, basically, and letting Luffy do it. There's a lot to like there. And that's the end of that chapter. So the next video is going to be the end of the arc. There's, I think, 5 more chapters technically, so I'm just going to go through all 5. Quick thoughts, since we kind of got to the main important ending before something starts cropping up again here. This is definitely my favorite arc so far. I mean, it's the longest, it's the most involved, but it resolved very satisfactorily. I don't know what's in the next 5 chapters. I don't think that's going to change my feelings, except it might make me more satisfied, but we'll see. And it'll be here when it's ready. Like and subscribe. Peace.